That's a lot of people, Utah, I'll tell you what. All right, we're going to get started, everybody. You know how it works. Question and answer. Also, thank you to Lane, Flyer Refi. That was great. Really appreciate it. And we're going to be here for a couple hours. Get comfortable. Bring the best libs that Utah has to offer.
Right-wing conservative Charlie Kirk was popped today at Utah Valley College. Now, Utah, white right away means white. And as you can see, there's none but white folks. Thousands of them. Lined up to see this guy. And this is moments before he got popped. His American comeback. So that was the event right before it all went down. Now, as we've learned, all of the people involved in said situation has caused a riot. They have caused a call for a all hands on board situation to where now he's in a hospital being protected because, you know, him getting popped. Now, he just pissed off CNN's Van Jones yesterday. And that's what he's good for. It's just like if white people piss you off, it's fun.
I visit Hunt.
But sometimes other white people don't like it. And it leads to incidents like this.
TikTok has helped U.S. businesses generate over $24 billion for the U.S. economy. That's
so now he's a pro TikTok guy.
Talking about me, and there's so many lies involved in what he said here. First of all, I never said the first element of what he said. I did say the second part, but this is a very important thing to focus on. So Van Jones is saying I should be ashamed of myself. And just remind you, the murder of Irina Zarutska, did you know that the attacker said, quote, "I got that white girl"? The attacker racialized this, just for the record. Now, mind you, do you notice that the media all of a sudden tries to play the moral high ground when we start to try to make them live up to the standard that they created and the construct that they forced and the paradigm that they constituted under George Floyd? The moment that we make them have to live up to their own standard, they start to cry foul.
And because he race hates, he's hated by a lot of people. But they seem to believe that the only people that dislike them are black people. So they feel safe going into predominantly all white conservative areas. And then he was allegedly shot and popped, rather, while doing his sermon. Now, how true is it? We don't know. You know, this is the thing about politics. What's real and what's fake, you will never know. Some of the things you saw that you believe is real is an act. They want us to believe Donald Trump because he's the president of the United States of America now, when he was running as a candidate, that a AR-15 bullet went past his ear and his ear is completely looking normal without any plastic surgery, just put a Band-Aid on it and now it's perfect and no one asks any question. It is almost laughable at how much they, bend the rules. They have court sessions that they put public where you was like, okay, somebody's going to jail for something, and nobody goes to jail for anything. They have these hearings where they grandstand just so it could be posted on social media so people would vote for them. but nothing happens. So when you look at policy, when you look at, like, say, news, you want to know what's going on at said time, right? Well, other than that, no one cared.
Unit. And what have we learned now?
Well, we know, as you just heard those eyewitnesses say, that a man is in custody. Charlie Kirk was taken to a hospital. Eyewitnesses said he was bleeding from the neck. A representative from Turning Point USA says it does not look good for his survival. And law enforcement tell me that this was a very vulnerable position there. Generally, at these types of events, they lean on campus security, but eyewitnesses who have spoken to CBS News have said they didn't even have a metal detector. They were barely checking tickets. This was a large open area, hundreds of people. Kirk was at a lower position, and the spectators were on sort of grassy area with a higher elevation. So actually very difficult location to secure. So I think people are going to be, after this, taking a look at security for an event like this, letting people come in the hundreds of people without having people go through a metal detector or at least check their bags. But still a lot of chaos, a lot of unanswered questions. I think we should be very careful about speculating about a motive. We do not have one at this time. The person who was in custody is certainly being interviewed, I'm sure, at this time. A series of events will kick in. The in-person interview will occur, reaching out to people, family members, associates, co-workers of this individual. They want to make sure that there is no other threat, and they also want to make sure that they know of any red flags that might have led up to this. They want to know about any weapons that are stockpiled. ATF is also on the scene, as are FBI agents from the local field office. More than a dozen, almost 2 dozen of them at this time. So big law enforcement presence casing this whole area. They are trying to clear that. They have asked students to leave campus immediately. This is a very active scene and an ongoing investigation at this time.
Anna, we know that Utah is an open carry state, but the campus is not open carry. Do we know where the suspect, if in fact he is the gunman, was standing, where he was in relation to Kirk?
Well, from video that we've reviewed, it looks like the gunshot came from an elevated position, a little bit off center. That's what it appears to be. We have not gotten word from law enforcement giving us exact details about the position and how far away from Kirk the shooter was. If a long gun was used, that shot can be taken from far away. Hundreds of feet away, and still have an accurate shot like that. But we just don't know. It might have been closer. It might have been somebody right there in the crowd. We just heard from these eyewitnesses who saw an older man being taken into custody, and they heard him say, "I would do it again." So police are going to be investigating eyewitnesses to see if anyone else heard or saw anything in the immediate moments, minutes, and the hour leading up to the shooting.
As we know, Kirk is a conservative political activist, a podcast host. Given that environment, are you surprised there wasn't more security? And what kind of security was in the immediate area around him? Do we know?
Well, his own personal security team was there with him, but we don't know what kind of a periphery they had secured. Eyewitnesses told us there were no metal detectors, that they just walked onto the field essentially to watch somebody come up and debate Kirk, which was the point of the event. So very minimal security. Now, that campus does have a security team in place, but it's unclear if they did a security check a week and a day, a week before, and then another one a day before to sort of clear it, case it, make a security plan. From my review of the videos that are out there at this time, I don't see any security on any rooftops of surrounding and nearby buildings. So I think in hindsight, they're going to be looking at this. Somebody with such a big following who would draw such a big crowd, they're going to reevaluate the level of security. In this instance, we saw people, students, able to just come right in to this open area, which is very difficult to secure. I'll just remind our viewers, an event like this poses a huge challenge. And if a law enforcement agency and security teams are under-resourced, they don't really have much chance to keep somebody like Kirk in that position at a lower elevation safe.
Anisha.
Now, right away, they've already informed you that they're saying it doesn't look good. Now, everyone else involved are moving towards a Yeah, well, that's the problem. Most people think that every time something happens bad in the world, black people have something to do with it. Minorities, or it was people that was in this country illegal. Right? Yes. Well, the problem was mainly a difficult one for a lot of people involved. Charlie Kirk was so divisive. Most of the people who are left wing or democratic and have those notions are white people. These are white people. They got an older white man. You think these people are not as violent as Republicans? Republicans are violent. So are Democrats. You're not safe because you're in Utah. You're not safe. You think there's no Democrats in Utah or left-wing conservatives? This guy said things that pissed off a lot of people in his rants, but he thought he was safe because he was in Utah. Then again, we don't know how serious this is. This could be a conspiracy, another draw for attention. Charlie pulls through, but his condition does not look good. It's difficult times, difficult days, right? That's what they try to tell us. Uh Yeah, it was a whole different area at that time. No. When conditions of certain aspects of conditions are not met or they put in a certain situation, they're just, no, you can't secure an outside festival. You would have to do something indoors. If you're at a college, you would have to be somewhere indoors, but they didn't have a big enough place for everybody to come around. Plus, he had a false, sense of security because he's in Utah, which is predominantly, right wing conservative Utah. That's all you need to know. The Rocky Mountains of Colorado would be probably next, but he's feeling safe and at home. Guess what? They have people that don't agree with you in Utah. There's probably people that can't stand you wanted to show up there just to argue with you. So you don't know if they're even from Utah. They probably actually follow this guy. Now, Charlie Kirk, you've never heard me have a discussion about Charlie Kirk, probably ever in life. Ever. So for me, when they bring up Charlie Kirk, I say, oh, yeah. Because I'm like, it's only 24 hours in a day. And I work, I sleep, I have to do stuff that I have to do, take care of my businesses. So I don't have time to waste listening to people that don't care about anybody that looks like me benefits. Why would I give Charlie Kirk the time of day? So listening to him makes no sense. Whatever his plans are, don't include people that look like me. The rights that he talks about and the policies and all the stuff he's doing, it's not for people like us. So why in the world would I be interested in anything that Charlie Kirk has to say? He's not a politician. The mailman shot him. They said it was an older man who did it, and they said he said he would do it again. I'm quite sure if he took that approach, I don't think he really was a mailman that did it. I don't think he was there dropping off the mail. I think he was there posing as a mailman to do the job that was meant to be done. If this thing was real. I still don't believe the Donald Trump incident where the bullet went past his ear and burns his ear, and Secret Service don't rush him off the stage immediately to safety. They leave him on stage so he could pump his fist in the air when you don't have a secure location, or if it's one or many shooters. That would never happen under Secret Service policies. That snapshot of him bleeding from the ear, that all looks staged. Like no human being in the face of mankind in security would allow that to transpire. They would grab him and move him out of there immediately. Then you got a female that's like she's about 130 pounds in the Secret Service. And it's like, what is she? She's not even taller than Trump. They can go over her head instantly. Like, what is she there to defend? So the whole thing just doesn't make any sense. Then you look at Trump's ear now, it looks like it never was touched. A bullet goes past your ear at AR-15. The heat alone would burn your ear up. Well, violence should never be the answer. Violence is the last resort. And that's when people have run out of words and they feel like I can't reach you, it's violence time. We've reached a point where I can't win. I just want to get violent. Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%. I agree. I'm reading your statements and I agree. He said a 70-year-old person did the shooting and he did it with a rifle 200 yards away. Ex-military. This is LeBron James' fault. Probably. Wouldn't surprise me. Not one bit.
Dr. Anna, we'll let you gather more information. We'll circle back with you. Appreciate that latest information. Our station in Salt Lake City, CBS 2, KUTV, has been on this story since it broke. Here's some of their breaking news coverage. Let's take a listen.
UVU sent out an alert not long after this happened. It said Utah Valley University sent a report to the students, and this is what it said. Quote, a single shot was fired on campus toward a visiting speaker, who is Charlie Kirk. Police are investigating now, and a suspect is in custody.
There were thousands in the arena for this rally. Conservative political activist Charlie Kirk. It was his American Comeback Tour, where he challenges students to debate him. Prove me wrong. It says it right there on the banner on the tent he was under. Prove me wrong. And they get in line to come up and challenge him. And he's known for being an incredible debater and proving his points and arguing with people who might have different views.
And a very powerful voice with the conservative political scene these days. And in fact, he is considered maybe a candidate for vice president down the road. They were talking about that. But more importantly, right now, the president has been briefed on that. He did send out a tweet on social media a little while ago saying, God bless him. He is a great man from head to toe, and everyone needs to pray for him.
Yeah, Utah Senator Mike Lee also posted on X that, quote, I am tracking the situation at Utah Valley University closely. Please join me in praying for Charlie Kirk and the students gathered there. And we also heard CBS coverage was talking to someone who was there who said it looked like they heard one pop and it looked like he grabbed towards his neck and the blood was pouring out.
And fell off his chair. He was rushed to the hospital. As far as our coverage goes, we do have Leslie Duarte at the hospital. We'll be hearing from her in just a few moments. Brian Malahy is en route.
And that was our breaking news coverage from our partners in Salt Lake City. I want to bring in now Brian Higgins. He is New Jersey's former Bergen County Police Chief and lecturer at John Jay College. Brian, thanks for joining us. First of all, I want to get your thoughts on this, and more specifically, the detail of security here really seems like this was a hard one to contain and have that security detail to protect Kirk.
Large crowd events in the open are extremely difficult, probably one of the most difficult events to secure. We've seen this in multiple shootings like this, from President Trump to presidents of other countries, elected officials, celebrities. When they're attacked, it's usually in open air crowded events.
So in a situation like this, things are happening so quickly. So how do medical professionals and law enforcement react in those initial seconds when it's so crucial to make sure that Kirk is okay and that the crowd is under control?
So there are three major categories that are addressed at the outset. First is getting treatment to the injured individual. Secondly is stopping the threat, finding out where that threat came from and making sure that no one else can be injured, and then dealing with the crowd. You're going to have a complete flood of different types of actions and emotions. Some people will be frozen, some may have panic attacks, and some may flee. So you have to address all of those areas at the same time.
What does it tell you that a suspect is in custody? And at this point, we don't know if that in fact is the alleged shooter or not, but that happened pretty quickly as well.
And we've seen this in, again, these events where we have these targeted attacks where the individual knows that they're in a crowd, knows it'll be very difficult to run away, and they take it upon themselves to just stand. Even if this individual did attempt to flee, the crowd is so tight, people are so panicked, it would be difficult to get away.
Was this a risky situation? I mean, obviously we can look at it now and say, of course it was, but given the context of what his conservative platform was, the crowd that was there, are you surprised that there wasn't more security detail?
I don't know the security measures that were in place, but usually in an outdoor event, and we've seen in multiple instances on college campuses where we have events, particularly conservative speakers that have caused riots, protests. Quite a few have been canceled over the last few years. So if an event occurs outside, what we're going to need is, or what we should see is, perimeter control. You can't get into the event unless you've been screened. Types of levels of screening, whether it's just opening a bag or going through a metal detector, is typical of these events. Now, Kirk, he hasn't garnered a lot of threat issues. In other words, people carrying out threats. But in today's current environment, I think this is going to change the planning for these events going forward.
Thank you so much for your
Now, once again, these subjects of matter, as the investigation is going on, the FBI is now getting involved, and they're going to be responding to the incident as a federal situation now. Gavin Newsom, others have responded to come out and denounce said event.
Charlie Kirk from campus. Obviously that didn't happen. The event went ahead as scheduled. There was a really big turnout there. And then of course, Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck this afternoon. Now we are still waiting for word on his condition. In the meantime though, we're seeing reaction not just from top Republicans like the president, we're also seeing Democrats condemning this act of political violence. So I want to share a few posts with you. This one from Democratic Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, he wrote this: "The attack on Charlie Kirk is disgusting, vile, and reprehensible. In the United States of America, we must reject political violence in every form." This is notable because Kirk actually sat down with Gavin Newsom for his podcast about 6 months ago. So these folks had
Shouldn't be political violence. It should be violence, period. But it's Gavin Newsom. He always says the wrong thing.
"I condemn this act, and we must all work together to ensure this does not lead to more violence." Again, Charlie Kirk shot in the neck on Utah Valley University campus during this event that he was holding called the American Comeback Tour. He had this Prove Me Wrong table that folks were able to join him at, debate about a political issue. And the idea was for this to be entertaining. Obviously, it ended with this act of political violence. And at this hour, we are still waiting for an update on Charlie Kirk's condition. Jewel?
Yeah, we're standing by for that Chanel call. Thank you so much. We'll circle back with you for the latest updates on 24/7. CBS affiliate KUTV, which is based in Salt Lake City, is watching the university's campus, and reporter Leslie Duarte is outside of the hospital where authorities are gathering. Let's take a look.
Mary, Ron, this information is still developing. I'm getting that information just as the newsroom is getting it as well. We can confirm Charlie Kirk is in critical condition at Timpanogos Regional Hospital where he is being treated. I'll describe the scene as a step away from the area so you can take a closer look as to what is happening. This is where I'm at, in front of the hospital, the emergency room straight ahead. The entrance has been taped off. There's several police cars. Moments ago, I saw people being escorted under that tape into the emergency room. But other than that, this scene is pretty much very tight with security as we know that Charlie is being treated in that area. I've reached out to media relations in the hospital to get more information as to what's happening. We don't have that yet. But throughout my time here, I've also seen people arriving, almost knowing something was happening, whether they knew who Charlie was or had heard of him. Even on the road, some people commenting, supporting and hoping well for Charlie. This is still a very active scene. Charlie is a very popular political figure and certainly is catching the attention of a lot of people as they are concerned for his well-being. Right now, this is all we know, that he's in critical condition. And as soon as we get more information, I will bring back to you. Mary, Ron.
So they had a witness that was there on the scene live. So the witness who was there was going to tell what he saw.
And spoke to Charlie Kirk just before the shooting. Let's take a listen.
After I got done talking to him, I really couldn't exit because there's such a big crowd. So I turned around like 10 to 20 seconds later after I got done talking to Charlie. I saw that he was shot in the neck and that he was squirting blood everywhere. But I was piecing things together, and it was really weird because the second guest that I talked to, before I went to ask him the question, what I was going to ask him, he was talking to him about how he was going to ask about transgenderism or something like that. But nothing about shootings. And this is the irony that came to me, which was like, right when he asked that, not like 5-10 seconds later, he was shot. And not only that, right after that, someone confessed to it who had no weapon, which makes me think that it was clearly a setup and that multiple people were involved. So, but prior to that, that's all I saw because everyone was squirming. I didn't see anyone fire a shot. I think it had to come from an elevated position for sure. And I think it had to have been a long rifle based off of how, so Charlie was like 10 yards in front of me from where my microphone was. So even if you have a pistol, someone was talking about a pistol and all this stuff.
All right, that was an interview from.
Hey, they had to stop him because dude was on. Hey, dude, they had to cut him because dude was giving up way too much information. Dude was giving up way too much information. Dude was like, hey, wait a minute. I think I just spoke to him. The way this person said that and the way this, I think it was many people involved in this. And he's right. He's right. He's right. Multiple people are behind this, in my opinion. I don't think this is the work of the lone gunman. How many times have we heard the lone gunman theory, and it doesn't appear to be a lone gunman situation? A lone gunman decided no, nobody do something like that by themselves. Some people on the ground are backing it. Some people on the ground are probably putting them in position. Normally when a hit is done, from what I've heard, hits are done in different correlations. You have someone that would draw the attention of security. You have another person that is there to keep the person in position so they don't move. Keep their attention, keep them still. Do what you can to where that person don't move, don't flinch, don't do anything, to stand still. Well, let's say this is a left wing type of person, right? Let's say a left winger did this. Shoot, they out here like Death Row Records, baby. Yes. The Man of Steel. Superman. He was an illegal alien. They embraced him. So right now, because of what that man just said in his testimony, being the last person to speak with him before the other guy came up and said he was going to ask him about transgenders. And he says, 5 seconds after he asked him about transgender, the guy was hit. Which made him believe, hey, wait a minute. This is a setup. Understandable. Plausible. Now comes what we call the hard part. What are they going to be prepared to do about it? Charlie Kirk is a very powerful influencer. He had government control. He had a lot of control out here.
Spoken to Kirk right before he had been shot. So obviously new information coming in. I want to go now to Anna Schechter, senior producer for the CBS News Crime and Public Safety Unit. She's been following the latest information. Anna, what have we learned right now?
Well, we've just learned that police did take a man into custody, but actually he's been released at this point. So very fluid situation. Unclear at this time if they have caught the person who fired that shot, if that suspect is potentially still at large. The campus is essentially trying to clear itself out, but they have police going room to room to try to clear people away from the area. But we reported earlier, we had multiple sources who told us a man was in custody. There is video of that our own confirmed team has cleared, and that individual has now been released. So still very fluid situation, unclear exactly who the suspect is and the motive. We still do not have either of those at this time. But the latest information is that the person who was taken into custody has now been released.
Yeah, let's touch on that, Anna, because we were saying let's not be quick to talk about what a motive may be, and obviously let's not be quick to talk about who the gunman may be. And so in this particular case,
So now that's why they cut dude off. Cause dude was like, yo, this dude started talking about transgenders. Next thing you know, it's gonna be an illegal transgender who decided to do the shooting.
Campus earlier today. I want to start with Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democratic senator, writing this, saying, "I'm praying for Charlie Kirk and his family. There is no place for political violence in our country. It needs to be condemned, and it needs."
There they go, political violence. They turning the whole thing into politics.
Posting to Truth Social, writing, quote, "We must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot, a great guy from top to bottom. God bless him." Vice President J.D. Vance posted this photo with Charlie Kirk, writing, quote, "Dear God, protect Charlie in his darkest hour." FBI Director Kash Patel writes, quote, "We are closely monitoring reports of the tragic shooting involving Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. Our thoughts are with Charlie, his loved ones, and everyone affected. Agents will be on the scene quickly, and the FBI stands in full support on the ongoing response and investigation." Also, Speaker Mike Johnson posted, quote, "Please join us in praying for our good friend, Charlie Kirk." Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth posted, quote, "An incredible Christian, American, and human being. May the healing hand of Jesus Christ be upon him." Utah's Governor Spencer Cox posted a message writing, quote, "I'm being briefed by law enforcement following the violence directed at Charlie Kirk during his visit to Utah Valley University today. We will continue to share updates. Those responsible will be held fully accountable. Violence has no place in our public life. Americans of every political persuasion must unite in condemning this act. Our prayers are with Charlie, his family, and all of those affected." And California Governor Gavin Newsom writes, quote, "The attack on Charlie Kirk is disgusting, vile, and reprehensible. In the U.S. of America, we must reject political violence in every form." I want to go back to Anna Schechter now for new information that she can share. Anna, what do you know?
Well, as we were just discussing, this is a very fluid situation, lots of confusion, even amongst local law enforcement that our teams are talking to, trying to figure out what happened there with an initial purported suspect taken into, or person of interest taken into custody, who was then released. So very chaotic, fluid situation. As I mentioned before, those open air, crowded event spaces like the one where this occurred, that's incredibly difficult, not only to secure ahead of time and during the event, but then afterwards. You can imagine hundreds of people running to safety, dropping items, and
law enforcement are having a large time going to get items.
Shooter or not, that led us to think maybe that window was closed and maybe they found someone, but this is now a wide open investigation. Can you talk to that?
Now the FBI is there.
That's a great point, because
Yeah.
the farther out we are from the initial event, that then widens the periphery of places that law enforcement needs to search. So this is potentially getting more and more difficult. We should remember, in this day and age, you generally do have.
Wow. So now more witnesses have come forward, and you can take into consideration what they have to say.
Away from the booth when all this happened. So Andrew, just walk me through what you saw, what you heard.
For sure. So basically, I just heard a shot. Charlie Kirk got hit. Looked like it was on the right neck and fell towards the left. Security took him immediately, and we all crouched down for a good 5 seconds. And in my head, I was thinking, wait, what are we doing to get out of here? So I basically started yelling, guys, we gotta go. And we just all started leaving. I left all my friends, and we just lost all each other. And then I just came and found my house family's dad office. Yeah. So I'm here right now outside of the campus, but it was insane.
How have you been? I mean, it's been a little while since this all happened. Are you still kind of, adrenaline's going, shaking up?
Basically, my heart's beating pretty fast. Adrenaline's there. It's really traumatizing. Definitely something that I've never witnessed before. I think a lot of the college students were there. Even some teenagers and some kids with families. I think everybody's probably feeling about the same with how I feel right now.
I mean, just what are your whole thoughts on this? I mean, this event comes and people come out and show out not expecting this.
I'll be honest with you. I'm neutral, moderate, but you can debate, argue, disagree with whoever, but I think it's totally wrong to shoot an individual. Yeah, so I'm just trying to digest everything right now, but that's at least, so.
How long would you say it took for everyone to get out of the area?
Probably for a little bit. I think maybe up to 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Yeah, everybody was packed, and there were only 2 entrances basically, of what I've seen, on the right side and the left side. So it took for a while, and there was a big chunk of people gathered together, and they were trying to leave throughout the door. So yeah, it was there for a while. Some people were actually trying to find who was the shooter there, and they were screaming and yelling, and yeah, but I was just trying to get out of the scene super quick. So.
Have you been able to make contact with anyone you were with?
I have. Everybody's safe with their families and friends. Yeah, and I called them, and they asked me if I was okay, and I'm fine, and everybody's doing okay. So yeah. One shot. Yeah.
All right, that was an eyewitness, a student there that was at the event.
So now he says there's one shot. And what went down? Now they have a guy that's on the scene.
Right after noon today.
Sure, yeah, I went to the event. Basically first, political event I decided to go and engage in. Had a couple questions for Charlie. We were only about 10 or 15 minutes into the event, and I was kind of near the line where people were asking questions. I couldn't actually see Charlie, but I heard just a loud pop. And in my mind, I was like, okay, could be a firework, could be something, but I had a cement kind of pillar or barrier behind me. And, just to be cautious, I went behind it. The people with me were like, oh, what was that? And then that's when people started saying to us, hey, Charlie's been shot. I saw him fall. And then I knew, okay, this is an active shooter situation. I crouched down, a lot of us crouched down. We really didn't know what to do. I was just kind of waiting for, I guess, other shots to go off. Maybe 30 seconds after the shot, people started to yell and run. There was a door maybe 10 feet from us, and people started filing through that. And so we said, all right, let's go. I crouched down, went to the door, and I just took off running. And, I guess ran as far as I could until I felt safe to the parking lot, and then eventually to my truck. And was with a couple other people, and we all kind of stuck together. And we didn't know each other beforehand, but stuck together. And we were just talking about it afterwards. So that's basically what happened to me. I was maybe 50 to 100 feet directly to the right of Charlie Kirk when this happened.
Leading up to that, I'm curious about your thoughts on security. There was a lot of people there. It was an open crowd. It's an open carry state, not an open carry campus. But talk about kind of the optics of security before this happened.
Yeah, so when I came in, I noticed the security team. I actually walked right by them. They were checking things out. But I did notice, no one's checking for weapons. No one checked me whatsoever. And honestly, I did think during the event before it happened, anybody could have a weapon here. So, yeah. UVU, I do believe, is a concealed carry campus, I believe. I just checked that out this morning or last night. But yeah, I don't know. Those are my observations.
Yeah. And now, after the fact, and knowing that potentially the suspect is at large, they're still looking for possibly an active shooter. Kirk in the hospital right now, we're waiting his condition. What are thoughts going through your mind right now as all of this unfolded?
My thoughts are, please pray for Charlie Kirk. He's a young man. He has a family. I believe he's a good man. Obviously, we don't have to agree with everything he says. Please pray for him. I hope he's okay. I guess I'm just hearing rumors there. Maybe he's not okay, so we'll find out. And then the active shooter situation, I did not know that. That makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, so I'll probably maybe leave the immediate area. I'm a little bit close still, so.
Well, Jordan Last, I appreciate your perspective and what happened and you talking with us and taking the time. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We have new video captures the.
You probably talking to the damn shooter and don't even know it. He probably the damn shooter. You probably just did an interview with the damn shooter. Right, and they don't even know it.
Earlier this.
Oh, they got rid of her and got a brother in there now. Brother, like, I'm taking over. You go out. I got it. So they was like, we got our own people in here.
The 31-year-old was the CEO and a co-founder of Turning Point USA, a conservative organization. CBS News confirmed there had been threats against Kirk. A Utah Valley spokesperson says a suspect is not in custody. A motive is not known at this time. President Trump just posted on Truth Social the following: the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. The statement there from President Trump as Charlie Kirk, we are told now, has died. Scott McFarland, our justice correspondent, with me now from Washington. Scott, when it comes to the investigation, we were told earlier that there was a suspect, and now we're told that person has been let go.
Yeah, a university statement given shortly after the shooting, it said a suspect was in custody and that the campus is closed. The university then changed the statement to reflect that a suspect is not in custody. They took that part away from their statement, which gives the indication that there is either a manhunt underway or a suspect about which we don't know the condition or the location. The FBI and the ATF are among the investigators on the scene along with local police. But let's take a look at that Utah Valley University statement. It says on September 10th, 2025, 12:20, it's Mountain Time, a single shot rang out in the quad near the food court of the Utah Valley University Orem campus. As Mr. Charlie Kirk began speaking at his planned rally, we can confirm that Mr. Kirk was shot. We don't know his condition. The suspect is not in custody. Police are still investigating. Campus is closed for the rest of the day. So you have federal law enforcement on scene. You have university police and local police. The FBI's Salt Lake City field office is there as well and responding. But there's no information now as to if there's a suspect that's known to law enforcement, where that suspect is, if the suspect is wounded, in custody, or otherwise. So we'll wait to see what law enforcement has to tell us, but that's obviously an enormous variable right now as the campus remains closed and as the country reacts to this tragedy.
Okay, Scott McFarland.
Well, so now Trump confirms that Kirk is gone. They done beamed him up. So now Didn't I tell you this was an organized situation?
Statement about it.
Now, when the guy said it seemed organized, didn't I tell you somebody to draw the attention? That guy who they said was 70 years old, yelling, "I'll do it again, I'll do it again." He draws the security. They arrest him. They collapse on him. Meanwhile, the person who really did it could slip away, cause enough distraction. And then they realize we just got the wrong guy. If you're security, why you're not protecting high risk areas? Like, why these high risk platforms are not being investigated? Like, why are they not being, monitored? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, the first thing you would think they would do would be, okay, we need to investigate what's happening here on this level, on this scale. It's always about blaming the wrong people, AB. Unfortunately, that's what it is. I haven't seen the video, so I don't know what it shows. I only know when he first arrived. But no one deserves to be shot and killed over their views. You out debate them, you beat them with your views. But I'm telling you, boy, if this comes out to be a left-wing conservative, they are moving like they are moving like Death Row Records, baby. He was responding to a gun violence question before he was hit. I know. The guy said it sounded like a setup because they interviewed the guy that went right before him. And the person that was before him said he was going to ask him about violence against transgenders. And he said, as soon as he turned around, he asked this question and he left. And he was good and ready to go to the back. The other guy was asking that question. 5 seconds after that question, bang, he was hit. So right now they're already putting it, and he said, I think this was an orchestrated attack because the way he said it, this and that. So they cut him off the air immediately. You probably will never see that guy on air ever again because he was, and I'm like, he was the last person to speak to him before the other guy came up who was behind him. Now, they should have a list of the people who was there. I would grab the last guy that was speaking to him, and I would look into everything he was attached to and start finding out what's going on. If I was starting an investigation, it would start right there. Yeah, we got the breaking news report.
Enough. I kind of put myself behind the wall. It was very, very good cover in case anything was happening. And then my brain was processing. It's a very loud sound. It seemed to me to come, in my mind, it came directly from the center of the crowd. I don't know where it came from, but that's just what my mind, I guess, was thinking. And then that's when, after a few seconds, people started saying, like, oh my goodness, Charlie was shot. I saw him fall to the ground. And that's when I realized this is a serious situation. We all crouched down with great cover, but I was then just listening for more shots because obviously this could become a much worse tragedy than it already was.
Yep. Well, they couldn't prove him wrong, so they took his life. I think they were under a false sense of security because they were in Utah and they didn't think anything about really the security that they had in place and that they should have had in place. Because on the high ground, just from here alone, you've seen people leave baby strollers, wheelchairs was left. As you see the people running out of there, evacuating. Why are these places open at top? Right where the university is. Look at all this stuff up top. People are just scattering out of there. You got somebody ducking up here at top. But look at this high ground. There should be nobody allowed up there doing this event. Everything would have to come down. No one's allowed upstairs. It should have been security at every one of those entrances. It's not blaming Kirk himself for what he's saying because he has an event. People have a freedom of speech, right? So the fact that this man lost his life and these people are now terrified in horror after what they just witnessed live, have to run for their lives. Well, you see right away. Even though Kirk does not speak or didn't speak for myself and people that look like me, he still didn't deserve to get shot and killed. Right? You know, with these things, I don't believe any of it, baby. You got to show the body. So when they said he died, I said, okay, well, I guess it's real. I don't believe none of this stuff they tell you at face value. They're politicians. They went to San Francisco, home of transgenders. They have a lot of them there. They have a lot of right-wing policies. They did their Turning Point America. They were outdoors. They had it in the area, but it was no real high ground for them to be attacked. I have friends that are conservative and they're Trump all the way. I have friends that hate Trump. I have friends that don't care. So it does not matter to me. I'm just not going to say, well, you like Trump, I hate you. I don't have that type of mentality because I look at people as individuals. Is there some good things Donald Trump has done? Absolutely. Has there been some bad things he's done? Absolutely. Do I think he should be president of the United States? No. Do I think Kamala Harris should be president of the United States? Absolutely not. Do I think that these people, so that's what I'm saying. I think like I say, I think individually, not as a collective group. I have not seen the video of it, so I couldn't tell you, but when you get hit with an AR, let's just assuming it's an AR from that kind of range, it's normally fatal. But no one deserves to be assassinated about, their views, especially when people are discussing policies and how they feel about it. Hmm. No. People have a yeah, he has a lot of views, or he had a lot of views that were very controversial to what was going on. Well, we'll see what happens. So for right now, I'm gonna get started in my day, get caught up on the reports, and hope and prayers go out to his family. You know, it's gonna be rough. The man got a wife and kids. Didn't deserve to lose his life over his political views. I don't agree with him, but still, he doesn't deserve to lose his life because of it. Yeah, well, we'll be monitoring this a little closely later on. Mm-hmm. He said the Supreme Court said Charlie hold what? What does all this mean? All this means is that he's gone. And the guy that was up here, if you've been listening to us, see, we was here before the announcement hit. And what we found out was that the guy who talked to him, probably about 20 seconds after he got through talking to him, he was hit. And the guy behind him who was talking to him, was actually talking to him when the hit went down, said he was going to ask him about violence against transgenders. And right when that question about gun violence, I guess, against transgenders was asked, that's when the shot went. Then the guy who they said was 70 years old, screaming that he would do it again, and all this was captured, taken into custody, and then later released because he didn't do anything. He didn't fire a shot. He didn't, you know. Yeah, I know, right? So, yeah, we're all getting caught up on. True. Right? Yeah. Oh, I thought this thing was caught up on this news. All right, I'm going to talk.